Welcome back. Instigating with Clarkey and Drury. I'm Ryan Drury. Clarkey will join us shortly, but I'm back from vacation. We took a little week off there, out on the West Coast, and another guy who was out on the West Coast, not really for vacation, but it turned into a heck of a party. My friend and the TV host of the Kitchener Rangers, let me rephrase that, the Memorial Cup winning Kitchener Rangers, Sean Furfaro, joins us. Sean, how's it going, brother?
It's going great. It's been quite a fortnight. The last 2 weeks has been pretty unbelievable. I got home yesterday. The day we're recording, I got home yesterday around 2:00 from the airport. Had a shower, a quick change of clothes, and I was downtown at 4:00 for the parade, the championship parade. So I've been going on adrenaline and espresso for the last little while. So it's been pretty good.
Nothing wrong with that. There it is, your 2026 Memorial Cup champions, the Kitchener Rangers. Incredible stuff. And Sean, like, you were out there, you took the whole thing in. You got to go to the parade, of course, which was on Tuesday, and a huge gathering down at City Hall in downtown Kitchener. What a sight. But man, talk a little bit about this team and how they played, because you know, we've seen a lot of great Memorial Cup tournaments over the lifetime of the tournament, and especially in the last couple of years. And the OHL's come out on the right side of quite a few of those. But the way this Rangers team played really throughout the OHL playoffs and in this tournament in particular, they played some of the most disciplined, locked down, best defensive hockey I've seen played at this tournament in a really, really long time.
They sure did, Ryan. That's a pretty good assessment. I know the coaching staff in some of their interviews referred to their mindset as surgical. They said, we just need to continue to be surgical with our approach. And that's what they were. And the thing that was really impressive to me all season long was how this team just got better and better and better and better. And you know what a grind the OHL season can be, that come February, you often see a dip from especially good teams, right? The season's just so long. And then we didn't see that dip with the Rangers, and they got stronger in January, and they got stronger in February, and they got stronger in March, and they got stronger each round of the playoffs until they were literally playing their best hockey when they were at the Memorial Cup, which was games, like, take this in. This was games 87, 88, 89, and 90 in their season, and they played their best hockey. Now, to be fair, they did add some pieces, but remember, this was essentially a first-place team when they made those trades. So they took what was already an exceptional team and made it even better. So you went from a 9.5 to a 10 by adding the Sam O'Reilly and Jared Woolley and Gabriel Sherratt and Dylan Edwards. These were all little, you're almost done the jigsaw puzzle, and you have these four little pieces that are just, what do we need? And we found those four perfect pieces that fit right in Kitchener, and it was surgical. It was amazing to watch.
It really was. And, you mentioned those four big pieces that they added to an already really deep team. And I mean, Sam O'Reilly wins Player of the Year. He's OHL playoff MVP. I mean, the two-way dynamism that he brings to the rink, pretty evident. And people already knew that from his time in London. And what an OHL career. What a bookend to his OHL career. And one of the best in terms of pure hardware and winning in the history of the league, to be quite frank. And speaking of history, the Rangers making some serious history as well. This is just incredible company that they've put themselves in by capturing this year's Memorial Cup. The Rangers now share the most championships by any team in the Canadian Hockey League since 1972. They joined the Cornwall Royals, the Kamloops Blazers, who of course famously won 3 in a row in the 90s, the Windsor Spitfires, and of course the London Knights with 3 apiece. And you talked about those big additions, obviously, Sean, and the surgical nature and the way that they played. What was it, in your opinion, though, that really put this Rangers team over the top in terms of the way they approached the season, the playoffs, and this tournament? What was it?
I think it was the fact that every player bought into the structure that was being developed with the coaching staff. So yes, the players go out and win the games, but this is a coaching staff of 5, right? Jussi Ahokas will be the name at the top of that. But Jussi Ahokas, Jeff Krzakis, Brad Flynn, Brandon Murley, Jordan DeCourt, the 5 of them as a unit have created over the past 3 years this unbelievable team culture that everybody buys into. And everybody talks about it. I think as well, Mike McKenzie, hiring these guys and knowing which guys they can put on their roster to get the best out of them. It's a relationship between player and coach. And I've never seen anything work so functionally as it did this year. It was great 3 years ago. It was spectacular last year. It was off the charts this year. And, you know, you go from an 8 to a 9 to a 10, and it was unbelievable. If you look at what Jussi Ahokas did in his first 3 years in this league, this is a legendary 3-year span. And I think you'll look back on it and say that.
I'm glad you brought him up, and I share your sentiment there. I think because it's one thing to bring players in, like we know that, Sean. Like you've been around the dance for an awful long time here. It's one thing to trade for guys. It's a whole other thing, especially kids, young men, a lot of whom are generally 20 and under. Quite a few of them still teenagers, to kind of buy in and all pull on the same rope. I mean, geez, it's hard enough to get professional hockey players to do that, let alone young men, right? So an incredible thing. And I'm glad you brought up Jussi Ahokas, because I just can't imagine this guy's going to be around the OHL for much longer. I genuinely think, and wouldn't be surprised, maybe you know something I don't, if he's not already taking calls potentially from NHL teams, because if an NHL team doesn't hire this guy in the next 2 to 3 years, shame on them.
Yeah. So let me preface this by saying I don't have any inside knowledge, but I'll give you my opinion. And when Jussi first came to Kitchener, it was verbally stated that this was the reason to come over from Europe was to eventually get to the NHL. And to work in pro hockey. You can't do it in the NHL unless you have a resume in North America. So this was Jussi's opportunity to do that. He said he wanted to make the Kitchener Rangers into the best junior organization in the country. He might have just done that with what he's done in the last 3 years. Is he NHL bound? I don't know. Let me give you my opinion on this. A lot of people, when they have success in the OHL, a lot of coaches, and you know they're going to take the next step, they'll go to pro hockey. And by going to pro hockey, I mean, you might take an AHL coaching position, a head coaching position, or you might take an NHL assistant coaching position. Very, very, very few people step into an NHL head coaching role. If you look in Brantford right now, Jay McKee just left Brantford, a well-deserved pro hockey contract. He's going to be a head coach in the AHL. But if someone as good as Jay McKee doesn't make the jump to the NHL, is Jussi Ahokas ready for that jump? I don't know. What I will say is this. When Steve Spott left, Steve was probably ready for an NHL job, but he had to go through the AHL and then assistant coaching, and he's never been a head coach in the NHL up to this point. When Peter DeBoer left, Peter DeBoer had put himself in a position where he was going to step into an NHL head coaching role. Now, I think this 3 years that Jussi Ahokas has had has earned him the right to step into an NHL head coaching role if that's what he wants. So I don't know if Jussi wants to go to the AHL. I don't know if Jussi wants to be an assistant coach in the NHL. But what I do know is that if Jussi wants his next step to be an NHL head coaching job and the right coaching job isn't there for him, then the Kitchener Rangers are a perfectly viable option. And I think he's earned the luxury to choose where his next stop is, and it has to be what he wants. So long answer, I don't know. Personally, I hope he's here another year. We have him for 1 year under contract, but all of these contracts are, if you get the right opportunity, nobody's ever going to block that. And if the right opportunity comes, it comes. I know that after year number 2, there were phone calls coming, and there was opportunity for him in pro, but he had more work to do here in Kitchener. Does he have more work to do here in Kitchener after a legendary season? Maybe not. Maybe running it back and going back to back is the cement he wants for his legacy, or maybe he's going to go wherever he wants right now. Maybe he's okay with the AHL. Maybe he's okay with an assistant coaching position. I can't see him as anything other than a head coach somewhere.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, DeBoer is a good callback because, you know, when Pete left, I think that he had established such a legacy and such an air of, you know, maybe dominance is a strong word, you know, coming from junior to pro, but I don't think so either. And I get the same type of vibe with this guy, like interacting with him the few times I have and being able to talk to him. And, you know, ultimately, you know, from up in the booth, just seeing how this guy operates, everything about him to me screams pro head coach. Yeah, like I just don't think anything is going to hold this guy back. And I I will call back to my comment before your answer. I mean, I really think if an NHL team is not willing to give a guy like this an opportunity, shame on them, because I mean, you know, the NHL gets criticized an awful lot for recycling guys.
Yeah.
How in terms of new blood, I mean, who in the CHL deserves it more than this guy right now? I just genuinely don't know.
Everybody loves a shiny new toy, and I think the NHL has a very shiny new finished toy that they can play with for the next little while.
Absolutely. I completely agree. I think that there's some real bright things ahead for him in an already shiny legacy over here in North America. Speaking of legacies, you know, you mentioned obviously earlier getting all those guys to come in, the big trades that were made. Obviously Kitchener decided, and Mike McKenzie's gone viral with his little clip from the parade and everything.
Drop. Yeah.
The ultimate mic drop by Mike. Yeah. Just saying like, hey, we found out we weren't going to host in 2027. So we just said, hey, let's do it this year. And I personally don't really care like for all the discourse that it's created amongst fan bases. I just don't care.
Well, I
don't think it's important.
I mean, he stated a fact. I mean, to say that the choice of Guelph winning the Memorial Cup was not the catalyst that led to the final stages of building this team is irresponsible. That's not a commentary on who the right or wrong choice was. That's a commentary on this factually happened, and then this was a catalyst for this. And I think, to not say that decision played into the formation of the remainder of this season is not accurately describing what happened. So I think it's very accurate.
100%. And I didn't watch it. I mean, you know, and I think people need to understand this, like, and you're of this, you know, perspective too. Like, I don't work for the Storm. Like,
and I don't work for the Rangers.
I call the games. Like, I'm not an employee. So like, I don't see stuff like that, or to be fair, want to get involved with it. So stop tweeting at me, please. Like, that's just a general response to everyone. Stop DMing me. I'm not going to participate because I just want to see good hockey at the end of the day. Like, I don't care.
When they respond to us, we're forced to eavesdrop on a conversation we don't want to be in.
Yeah, I just don't care. You know what I mean? And it's great. And it's great for the OHL as a product that like this has occurred. But my point being, you know, Mike makes that statement, and you can do that when you win a championship. Like, guess what? You have free reign to kind of say whatever you please. And it's true though. Like, they find that out, and then they decided to floor it. And they did in the additions that they made and the way that they approached the rest of the season. And I'm real curious because I've heard from Rangers fans, like Mike's been on the job for a good while now. And, you know, he was pretty like, you know, contrite almost in his post-game interview after capturing the cup about saying, you know, it's been too long since this franchise has won this trophy. I take some responsibility in that, which I think on one side is unfair, but as an executive and a guy that loves winning, I understand where he's coming from with that sentiment. But now I wonder, for Rangers fans who I had talked to in the past that used to kind of doubt his acumen and his ability to put a winning team together, that is dead now. And I'm really curious on your perspective, what his legacy is now, because I think he's established himself as an all-time great.
Well, you saw that on Ice interview that I did with him, because you referred to that quote he made that I felt partially responsible. And he said these guys have cemented their role in Rangers' legacy. And I ended the interview by saying, well, I think you have too. I think Mike McKenzie's legacy in this team will be unforgettable. I mean, you're talking level of legacy time. He's the architect up there on the rafters. If he leaves tomorrow, he's a legacy character in the history of the Kitchener Rangers. So I remember Joe Birch told me a while ago, we were talking about it, and he said, in my opinion, Mike McKenzie has never lost a trade, which is a really bold statement to make. But if you look back at all the things he did, and maybe the trades didn't work out for the team at the time, but the way you're building things, if you look at the pieces that he gave up for the things he got, I can't think of a ton of times that Mike McKenzie lost a trade. He always knew the right time to do something. Well, if you're going to go get a Logan Stanley, you can't do it at the trade deadline. You're going to pay through the teeth, so you do it in August. Or if you're going to go pick up a Liam Howell, you do it in the first week of the season. He always knew the right time. Also, he sold when he had to sell, he always got great return for things. People say 10 picks, Jacob Zoo and the rights to Kane Barch. He got fleeced on that. I'm like, are you nuts? I'd give him another 10. Give him another 10 picks. It was one of the best things he's ever done. So to answer your question, his legacy at or near the top of all general managers in Kitchener Rangers history, as well as the number of times he's had to step in as coach and had exceptional numbers.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I completely agree. And hey, that's the beautiful thing about sports and about winning. When you win, there is no more criticism, not legitimate criticism.
Not legit,
anyway.
Yeah.
It's over. Like it etch it in stone.
Yeah, holding up the Memorial Cup is the ultimate scoreboard.
Sorry. Yeah. Like it's over. Like anybody who had issues with the way he ran the team, anything in the past, like it's over now. What more could you want? What an unbelievable season and run that this team went on. I'm curious as well, your experience out there in Kelowna, and it's obviously a beautiful place out in BC. I was a couple hours south of you for the week, and it was a lot of fun to be out there and just see all the things that were happening. And Memorial Cup fever certainly reached down the coastline. I'll tell you that. It was incredible to watch. What was your experience like out there in Kelowna? How were they as hosts? And obviously you have deep ties to the city of Guelph as well. You're the voice of the Griffins, so everybody should keep that in mind. What do you think next year has in store as well?
I think Kelowna was a wonderful host. I mean, we really won the lottery being able to go there. I think Guelph is going to do an exceptional job hosting, as I've said from the day that they got the Memorial Cup. They had a very large contingent out in Kelowna learning different things. So a lot of the committee was out there, and I got to see a lot of them. So it was great to see everybody out there. There were people out there that were just planning on volunteering that came out and volunteered in Kelowna to kind of learn the different things they need to do. My experience out there was spectacular. Obviously, I have ties to Guelph, but I actually have ties to Kelowna as well because my wife is originally from Kelowna. So I've been out there multiple times. I've been out there working for dance competitions as well. So I'm very familiar with the area. So I decided when I was out there, I'm not doing a broadcast. I was out there on a media pass. I'm going to try and do something a little different and try to make people at home back in Kitchener feel like they're in Kelowna. So there was a lot of great coverage there. I mean, you could go to Josh Brown and get great newspaper articles. Mike Farwell did some articles on his radio show on the 570 News. He wrote some articles as well. You could get those inside articles there. The Kitchener Rangers team did some amazing video content. And I'm like, okay, well, you can consume all of that, but I'm going to try and do something different. I'm going to do a fan experience. So I created video journals every day. So I went around and I shot the game, I shot practice, I shot things about Kelowna, I interviewed fans, I interviewed the guy that makes the ice, I interviewed Frankie Corrado, who showed us his broadcast position. I tried to find all the little hidden things, all in short bursts, and I made video journals every day, which I think you saw some of, and they were really rewarding, and I tried to make our town, as we call Kitchener, feel like they were in Kelowna with us if they couldn't join us. So the response was great. We saved them all. There's about 2 hours of content there. So I mentioned all the other things you could get. You could get this as well. So a Rangers fan can consume all four of those things and get something different from each of them. If you don't want the lighthearted stuff, you go to over here. If you don't want the newspaper articles, you go over here. But there was so much content out there for people. So I went out there as a broadcaster, but I guess I was technically a content creator. And it was nice to be treated, really well by the CHL out there. It was great to be on the ice for the ceremony and the presentation and everything. It was great. And personally, I loved it. I do have a connection to this team. It was an emotional time to watch them win, but it was really rewarding to hear people send me messages to say, thank you for doing this. I was at the parade yesterday. I had dozens of people stop me and say, we looked for your stuff every day, and it did feel like we were there. So my experience was really fulfilling and really rewarding, and it was a great time.
That's what it's all about, brother. And I mean, it looked like an incredible time as well on Tuesday with the parade. I mean, there's the shot that the Rangers shared of Coach Ahokas in front of everybody downtown at City Hall. Just an absolutely wild looking scene. Say what you will. Rangers fans show out, man. I mean, that city cares about this team. It's a community owned thing. Everybody there feels like they have a little piece of it. And that's shown in photographs like this, brother.
Well, and Ryan, that, as great as a photo that is, they show out, but not just in Kitchener. They showed out in Kelowna. There was a
Yeah.
huge contingent in Kelowna. And then when they made the final, more and more people just kept flying in the days before, until we had a groundswell where we put out a notice and said, well, if there's so many people here, let's meet at 2:00 on the championship game day in front of the statue across. And we expected maybe 100 people. We'd get a couple dozen people. We didn't count them, but it felt like there were between 300 and 400 people there. It was insanity. I walked up with my camera. I couldn't believe how many people were there. And then we took this photo. We took a video. And honestly, it was emotional. There were tears. There were, even now, even talking about it now, that's what this team is about. It's about community. It's about being there together. It was bigger than the trophy. I said that in the moment. I'm like, this is bigger than the trophy. It's bigger than the win. This moment here is what we're all about. And that moment in front of that statue, in front of that fountain, was my favorite moment of the tournament, including when they raised the cup.
Amazing stuff, man. Well, I think I have photographic evidence of another special moment for you too, and you shared this on your socials. I wanted to highlight it, of course, for our viewers. There's you and Mr. Campbell. There's Soupy, Carson Campbell, you and him with the Memorial Cup. Just tell us a little bit about this photograph and just what this means to you and this season and how it'll stick out for you as a whole.
I'm going to tell you, this is a really special photo. When we won the OHL championship, I got to hold the J. Ross Robertson Cup with a couple of guys, and then by myself. They gave me the opportunity to hoist it myself. I didn't get that opportunity with the Memorial Cup trophy, and I didn't want it. I mean, I'm sure I could have. All I wanted was a picture with Carson, and I'll tell you why I wanted it. Was I was on the blue line at the beginning of the game. I was on the blue line right at the beginning when the anthem was starting, and I looked over and I saw the looks in the guy's eyes. I'm right at the end of the bench. And Carson was not on the ice to start. He was at the end of the bench, and he put his head down into his gloves, and he looked up, and I could see how emotional it was. I could see it. It wasn't going to affect his game, but I could see the moment was he was enjoying the moment, right? He's like, this is it. We're here. I could see how emotional he was. And I locked eyes with him for a second, and he looked at me, and I looked at him, and he just gave me a nod, and I gave him a nod, like the slightest nod. And we shared that moment before the game. And then he came up to me after the game, and he said, I saw you before it. And he gave me a hug like you wouldn't believe on the ice. And the other thing that I need to say and why this is so special is last year when the Rangers lost in the OHL championship, I talked to all the guys the day after they were eliminated at their exit interviews. And I said to almost all of them, I said, I need you to remember how horrible this feels right now, which is not the thing you want to hear after you lose. I said, I need you to remember how horrible it feels right now, how you had to sit there for 20 minutes and wait for London to get every picture before you could salute your fans. I need you to remember that because I need you to use it as fuel for next year, because these are the things that build champions. And when you raise a cup or two next year, you're going to remember last night as the reason you had the fuel to do it. And a couple of the guys looked at me like I was crazy. And a few of them, and don't get me wrong, I don't think I'm the one that was the motivational TED Talk speaker. I'm sure the coaches all told them exactly the same thing. But the one that really took it to heart the most was Carson. And we talked about it a lot during the year. And they won the OHL championship. He came up to me, gave me a hug, and said, we called it last year. We called it last year. So that's why this photo is the only one I wanted with that cup.
Unbelievable stuff, brother. Well, that's what is so great about what we do. We get to, kind of have a side seat to these kids' journeys, and whether they win trophies or not, it's special to establish relationships with these guys, and to see guys win like that, it's really incredible stuff, man. I want to congratulate you on all the great work you did out there. I did see your video stuff. How could you not? And by the way, if you're not a Rangers fan, you're not following Sean. Like, what are you doing? Brother, I really appreciate this. Heck of a season for you and the whole crew out there. Congrats to the entire franchise. Congrats to you for having that special moment. And I really appreciate you coming on the show, pal. Enjoy this.
Thank you, my friend. We will. I mean, we're gonna have the adrenaline crash soon, but we're not there yet. We're gonna wear the hat, we're gonna wear the shirt, and we're gonna celebrate it just a little bit longer.
Before I let you go, I just remembered I wanted to ask you this because we're both big music guys. I think this is a good place to end the interview. If you could sum up what this year for the Rangers is as an album, what album represents what the Rangers just did? Because I think I got a pretty good one queued up for you.
What album?
Yeah.
I can't give you like a token answer. I got to think this one through. You can edit this part out.
I sprung this on you. I'll tell you,
It's okay.
I thought of this a little bit. I'm a big metalhead. He's got it. I want your answer first.
My answer is the Foo Fighters, the color and the shape.
Oh, that's good.
Yes. The entire season, you had the color off the top, and then at the trade deadline, you got the shape. And the way that album builds and the way those songs build, color and the shape, without a doubt, is the summary for me of this season.
I like that. Let me give you mine. I'm a big metal guy. You know that. I think Pantera's vulgar display of power.
That's a perfect sentence to describe their Memorial Cup.
Yes. It's the album cover's literally a guy getting punched in the face.
Yeah.
And that's what the Rangers did to everybody out there, brother.
You should ask the Everett Silvertips about that.
Yeah, I don't think they want to talk about that. Dude, it's been a pleasure. Thanks so much. Congrats on all the great work you did, and go enjoy this, my friend. Thank you so much, Sean.
Thanks, Ryan.
All right, everybody. We'll take a quick break. Clarkey will join us. Lots to talk about. Are the Leafs getting closer to a head coach? We'll see. We'll talk about that next on Instigating. Oh, look who it is.
Wow.
Christopher Clark.
What's going on, Ryan Drury?
I'm good, buddy. Back from vacation. Had a great time out west.
Yeah.
Had a great time chatting in the first half with our buddy Sean Furfaro of the Kitchener Rangers broadcast on Rogers TV, fellow Rogers alum. How about that? And congrats again to the Kitchener Rangers, Memorial Cup champions in dominant fashion. How about that? And hopefully, as we transition to another big hockey topic, one of these potential coaching candidates for your buds can maybe help them get back to dominant ways, at least hopefully in the regular season, as the news came out earlier this week, really on the weekend, that courtesy of Darren Dreger and a bunch of other sources, of course, that the Leafs are chatting this week. Maybe they've already chatted with them as we record this on Thursday, June 4th, with one Patrick Waugh and Peter Laviolette. What are your thoughts on that, Mr. Clark?
I'm definitely not a Peter Laviolette fan.
Why not?
You know what? I don't want to say I don't know. It's just a feeling. He did win a cup, right?
Yeah, he won a cup in 2006 with that Hurricanes team.
That's a long time ago, 2006.
Yep, long time ago. Went to a cup
I
final.
don't know. He's gone to the Rangers. He's gone here and there and everywhere, and he hasn't had any success anywhere.
He made a pit stop with my crew, too.
He did. Yeah. And didn't do anything there.
Yeah, it was...
he didn't do anything.
Well, it was
so I'm not a Peter Laviolette fan. I hear O-Dog on Overdrive telling us how great of a player's coach he is. Well, good. I don't know what route they should take, to be honest with you. I really don't know. I'm torn. Like, should they go? One of these guys, Patty Waugh. He didn't even last a year in the island, did he? Like, he got turf there at the end.
I think he was there a little over a year. I think he did a season and then got turfed at the end for Peter DeBoer. But demanding guy. Like, they're two intense dudes. Like, what I'll say for Laviolette is I don't know if he'll necessarily fit where the Leafs are sitting right now, because he likes to play a really up-tempo, quick style that relies on defensemen transitioning pucks quickly. Like when he went to that cup final with Nashville when they lost to Pittsburgh in 2017, I mean, he had Yossi back there. He had Ekholm. He had Subban, as we all remember. The Leafs don't have a decor like that. So I don't know if the Leafs are well set up to play the style that he likes to implement. And of course, there's
but what style
forward depth.
I get it. What style would a coach implement that is fitting for this team? I don't know. I like, that's the thing. I just don't know.
That's why we had on the banner there, like, should they try and hire some new blood? Maybe our friend Jussi Ahokas of the Kitchener Rangers.
Maybe.
I don't know. Like,
I don't know.
Is that the way to go? Because it sure doesn't sound like, aside from some, nasty fake account rumors out there. It sure doesn't sound like anybody in the NHL, never mind the Leafs, are prying David Carl from Denver.
Yeah.
So
move on. Who cares? Why? I don't know why you would not want to coach in the National Hockey League.
I don't
it's
know.
Got to be the pinnacle. Like, I don't understand it. Like,
now we don't know for
there.
Sure.
Well,
we don't know for sure
that.
Well, we don't know that the Leafs have reached out or even talked to David Carl, for one. And two, we don't know that if someone in the NHL, maybe the Leafs, someone else, has reached out to David Carl. If he has outright said, no, I like my spot in Denver. And
then fine.
I will say this. He
in Denver,
he has a young family.
Good. That's what happens in hockey, Ryan. You have to move sometimes. You have to pick up and move. If you want to get to the pinnacle, you have to pick up and move. And if he doesn't want to come to Toronto, then whatever. I don't care. I think he
doesn't have to move. That's just the thing, though. Like, he has intense job security down there, right? Like 2 national titles, 3 title appearances,
and again,
Frozen
great,
Four, and
great.
Maybe he doesn't want to leave. I don't know.
Yeah,
this is all a mystery.
Pretty good security where you work, but you probably want to move forward. Like it's just like. You want to get to the pinnacle.
Job security in this industry.
You want to get to the pinnacle. You want to get exactly. Is there a thing about job security in college hockey? Who knows? Who knows? At the end of the day, like, I just don't understand a guy who wants to stay in college and not make it to the NHL. He wants to wait until the situation's right. Well, that situation may never come about. So if you're happy being a collegiate coach the rest of your life, then so be it. Then let's move on.
And again, it's
delay is just all a front, and Cassidy's the guy they want. They're going to wait until Vegas is out,
maybe
approach them and see if they can talk.
Maybe,
because I've heard, through not my sources but other media members. I hate when and I've been hearing a lot of this lately. If I can rant for a second, people on Twitter saying my sources tell me, and they tweet these things an hour and a half after the Elliot Friedmans and the Darren Dragers and all those guys. My sources are telling me you can't use a media member as a source, my friends. That's not a source. Anyway, media people are saying that Vegas isn't going to give anyone permission until they're done in the playoffs. So we'll see what happens after that. I don't know. I don't know where this is all going. I would kind of like them to get a coach under their belt and move forward. Like, at some point, they have to get a coach. So let's get one.
Yeah, they
or
do.
I mean, chief of coaching, maybe they'll call it chief of coaching.
A chief executive of coaching.
Yes,
there's another new position for a CEC.
Because we have chief of staff now. Freddie Hamilton, Dougie's brother, has come on board, and then they got the guy from Minnesota. Is it? Who a lot of people are saying it's a pretty good guy to get. So we'll see.
Maybe they'll be able to get top 50 Dougie to come and play in Toronto. Who knows?
They got his brother.
Yeah, they got his brother. Yeah,
I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know where it's all going.
I don't know. I'm not saying he's a bad coach. He clearly isn't. Like, he's got a good resume. He's been able to help some teams like boost their stock. And
who would you rather have, Cassidy or Laviolette?
I would rather have Bruce Cassidy because he won a Stanley Cup like just
recently.
A blink ago.
Yes, exactly.
And Lavi, like, again, you do have to do a thing here where you look at the situation. Again, I just don't know that this roster is built right now for the way that he wants to play the game. I feel like this team would be a repeat of what happened with Craig Berube this year, where the team could not execute what he wanted them to do. And
I don't think Craig Berube wanted to play. I don't think he wanted to play an upbeat, fast-paced style of hockey.
I don't either, but I think guys just didn't want to buy in and were sick of him, which is, I mean, I don't know. That's something to really say after winning a division, but it'll be interesting. But Patrick Waugh, I don't know if the fit is much better there. Now, he's certainly a guy that is intense and stands up for his players and can really, look, like, let's be frank here. Yeah, he got fired at the end of the year, but he was helping steward a really unbelievable all-time, historic rookie season at a Matt Schaefer and got a lot of good players. Like, the Islanders were pushing right to the end. and they came up
for
short.
sure.
Like, I think that he can certainly push some buttons with some guys, and I feel like he would.
Well, he's not afraid to bench guys, is he?
No, he's not one, and that's because Patrick Waugh, and I'm saying this as a compliment, has a big ego. And he deserves to have a big ego. He's won at the highest level multiple times. And the famous line about putting the Stanley Cup rings in his ears. He doesn't have to listen to any back talk from any of these players.
I kind of would like him to become the coach and win here. And
that'd be really something.
What would the Habs fans who idolize this guy still, even though he quit on their team, but they still love Patrick Waugh.
That's not a fair assessment of what he did.
Well, no, he quit. He said, "I'm not playing for you guys again. I'm done." That's quitting.
Because the coach left him
in for 9 goals, whatever. He quit on the team.
Night,
I get it.
And there was other stuff going on behind the scenes.
That was a great night.
Like, I bet it was. But then he went to Colorado and he won 2 more cups. So what is he?
Absolutely he did.
I don't think Montreal fans.
I love that.
Montreal fans are so precious about their past greats. And let's be honest, this guy won. You could argue that Patrick Waugh orchestrated 2 of the single-handed most like goaltender tilted Stanley Cup wins in the history of this league. It wasn't the case in Colorado. Colorado, he had a real loaded squad. The 2 cups in Montreal, the rookie year in 86 and then the 93 one in particular, where, they don't win that cup either of those years without him.
No,
So I don't think if he went to Toronto and won a cup, the Montreal fans would go, burn an effigy in the streets. They wouldn't do that.
On a scale of 1 to 10, I would put my hope of coaches of Cassidy at 10, Waugh at 9, Laviolette at 5, and whoever in 8, 7, 6.
I don't disagree with your assessment there, really. I mean, I think I feel the same way just based on what the team is. And I think Cassidy, he's obviously a good coach and can push the right buttons too. Whether he's going to kind of see eye to eye with the new management and be able to work with that system, I don't know, but I'm sure they'll pay him very well, and he'll find a way to make it work, as would Lavi or Patrick. So it'll be interesting to see.
I just think maybe the geniuses down at MLSE are going to try to wow us with somebody who we didn't think of, and we're going to
they did that with the GM.
Yes, they did. So who knows? Who knows?
There could be a name coming out of left field that we're not even discussing.
That's
a
right.
really good assistant coach
Bruce
somewhere.
Boudreau.
Oh, God.
No, it won't be.
Imagine
I would love. I think his time has come and gone, but I would love Bruce Boudreau.
Anyway. We all love Gabby. We all love him. He's a sensational guy. He's entertaining. He's fun. Yeah. And I will say this, you talk about a player's coach, like the players would love him. Like he tries to massage situations to make it comfortable for guys to, play their way. And he works around that, and unfortunately never got a cup. One of the all-time great guys to not get one. Yeah. And back in the Washington days when he first broke in, he set the record for fastest 250 wins. It's since been broken, but man, that would be something, eh? Like Gabby, I'll tell you this, who'd be a real big fan of that? The media. The Toronto media would absolutely love Gabby. They'd have a field day with him. Yeah. Although if it was him, I feel like it'd be a 1 or 2 year deal. Like he's, Bruce is getting up there a little bit. It'll be interesting to see how it shakes out. How about the Stanley Cup final?
Pardon me?
How about the Stanley Cup final? Game 1, Vegas squeaks back.
Montreal's not in there, right? No, they're out.
Montreal's not in there, brother. All you have to worry about is your old buddy Fancy Pants.
Fancy Pants.
Oh boy, and he did it again. How about that setup to William Karlsson?
Tried to jump out of the way of the last shot, and he gets praised for blocking it, but he tried to get out of the way. But whatever.
Well, he blocked it.
Yeah, I know. Well, you know what? Go Carolina. That's all I can say. Come on.
You want Freddie Anderson to win the contest?
Yeah, I do. I like Freddie.
You're a goalie. You're a goalie hugger. You're a goalie hugger. So you're leaning. So you give me the honest assessment. Do you want Carolina to win, but do you believe they can?
Of course. They've only lost 2 games in the playoffs so far.
I'm aware of that.
And like one of them after like 11 days off, or however many days it was off.
12. Yep.
12 to Montreal, and then they just dominated after that. They just need to do what they did against Montreal and smother the crap out of the Vegas Golden Knights if they can. Like Montreal set a record for 3 games in a row with the least amount of shots. It was crazy how, first of all, how Carolina shut them down, and secondly, how the Montreal superstars disappeared completely.
They really did.
They did. And I know how they feel as a Leaf fan. No, I do. Yeah. It's the same thing. And I hear all these Hab fans saying, it wasn't our year. It's okay. It's just starting. We're going to get better and better. Yeah, that's what I said. We'll see. Time will tell. There's no guarantees. That's all I'm saying. There's no guarantees.
There's no guarantees.
Look at the Blue Jays. We'll get to them in a minute.
We'll get to them. But they're right with Montreal. Like, they're getting started because they're at the start of the trajectory of their core.
10 years ago, the Leafs were.
10 years. Yes. Let's see in 10 years what happens here. I mean, they've already been to a cup final.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have. Sure. Yeah.
And a conference final. I mean, they've been farther 2 times over than the Leafs have. So we'll see. But you're right. Let's see in a decade.
Bottom line is
call it 8 years.
So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out.
What's up. Yeah. I think Vegas is going to win the Stanley Cup, man. I hate it. I don't love watching them win another cup.
No, I don't either.
Frankly, be in another cup final.
Come on, Carolina. Let's go.
I don't care who wins. There's just
I care who doesn't win.
Yeah, there's some reasons that I don't. There's a few different reasons I don't want to see Vegas win, but it'll be an interesting story no matter what, and what a comeback by them and Dorfe. Like, again, these 2 teams are just showing, because in Carolina, you know what they're doing right now. People are going, where is Aho? Like, where's Svechnikov? That Taylor Hall line is the one that's bumping and grinding for them. It just speaks again to how important it is to construct a roster with good depth. Because you look down at the Vegas with the Dorofeevs and the Barbashevs.
And that's the thing with Montreal. Like, it was the New Hooks. It was those guys who performed. Josh Anderson. And those guys, like, who knows? Gallagher's already said he won't be back. So,
14 years, he's gone.
We'll see. We'll see what happens with those other guys, too. Anyway.
100%.
Go Carolina. I'm not concerned they lost the first game, but
no, it's one game.
Let's go.
They're in trouble if they lose tonight. No. It's Thursday, game 2. We're doing this. We're recording this about 2 hours before puck drop. They gotta have game 2.
They do, no doubt. And I had quite the conversations on text with our old producer Adam about his Colorado Avalanche. They need a goalie, and I said this and he goes, our goalies are decent. And I'm like, you don't win with decent goalies usually. You know, you don't.
They did, though.
They did once.
When they won, they did. Like, I'm not trying to crap on.
It doesn't happen too often. Let's be honest.
No.
Goalies usually will step up.
Though I will say, if you look over the last number of years, some goalies that you wouldn't necessarily, outside of your Vasilevskis, some goalies that you wouldn't necessarily say are like world beaters have won cups. Jordan Binnington, pretty up and down.
Come on.
Right? Well, Bobrovsky, but keep in mind that first cup that Florida won, Bobrovsky was not very good in the regular season.
Not in the regular season, but he stepped up in the playoffs, boy.
He absolutely
was unbelievable, and that's the problem. That's what I'm saying.
No denying it.
With the Colorado guys, I don't like either of those guys. They need a number 1, no doubt.
Look at Vegas when they won their cup. That guy's not even starting for them now. Aiden Hill,
he stepped up.
He stepped up, but what I'm saying is he's not like, I don't think anybody would say he's a top 10 goalie in the league.
But I don't think either Wedgwood or Blackwell or whatever the heck his name is.
Blackwood.
Couple
Woods. Yes.
Couple of Woodies. I just don't think they have the capability of stepping up, and they've shown it to me. So, anyway.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, they were good enough to get to a conference final. I don't know. You know, you're right. Hey, we referenced the Carolina Cup that Lavi did win. Cam Ward, all-time rookie season, and then he
I just love people.
He's just all right.
I love people too who like, looks like Freddie Anderson. You guys gave up on him, and I'm like, you're the same person who ripped and said,
"That's not true."
No, not you. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about
I know.
my friend who said to me, Freddie Anderson, you guys will never win with Freddie Anderson. And now they're saying, oh, too bad you gave up on Freddie Anderson. They gave up too early on that guy. He's really good. And I'm like, you can't have it both ways, dude. Like it's a certain Montreal fan who works.
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah,
he's like, no, I never ripped on Freddie, and I'm like, yeah, you did. You told me many times you didn't think the Leafs could win with Freddie. Anyway,
well, let's just be frank here.
Didn't.
Let's just be frank with Freddie here for a second. Outside of that early, I think it was his second or third season in the league where our buddy Brucey Boudreau took the Anaheim Ducks to the conference final and lost to Chicago in 15. Outside of that, like Freddie has not really ever put together a good playoff run. He certainly didn't do it in Toronto.
And he's not really getting tested. But the bottom line is he's not letting in Toronto. My biggest beef with Freddie was he let in the worst goal at the worst time.
He was famous.
Like they would lose 2-1, and it was like 1-1 ties late in the third, and a guy would shoot it from the goal line in the corner, and he would have about a space the width of the puck to go in, and it would go in.
The Boston, I know exactly the one you're referencing.
Like he did that, but he did that more than once. And he's steady right now, and Carolina is playing very stingy defense. Let's put aside game one.
Yes. Jacob Slavin and throwing all those guys. Yes, it's very different. And Pesci, it's different than the defense that he sometimes would see in front of him in Toronto. Yes, that's worth saying. However, the point you just made about the two Woods, Mackenzie Blackwood and Scott Wedgwood, Freddie had ample opportunity in Toronto to step up and be the guy that made that save that closed it out. It was never him. It was always the other guy. It was always the other guy. So to say, for anybody to go, oh, the Leafs gave up on Freddie, I'd actually be more apt to say he gave up on the Leafs, because toward the end, he was never healthy.
No,
you couldn't pencil starts in for him. You had to use a pencil, not marker. Because you just never knew if the guy could play. My back hurts, my leg hurts, my hip hurts.
Hey, what do you think of Dylan Larkin asking for a trade?
I'm not terribly surprised. I mean, it's been a long time and a lot of pain, mostly. Nothing but pain. They haven't made the playoffs. And
they got to get rid of Todd McLellan. Like this guy can't do anything. I don't understand it.
Well, he just got back there. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of I'd be more apt to say Stevie Y, what's up, brother? The Iser plan. People want to talk about how bad the Shannon plan worked out. The Leafs were in the playoffs all the time.
Yeah.
Detroit fans would happily trade the Iser plan for the Shannon plan.
For sure.
Trust me on that, brother.
For sure.
I got friends who are Red Wings fans that are like, we would die to just see a playoff game.
Yeah. And the way they just gave it up down the stretch last year was like the Tigers.
Oh my God. Yeah. I don't know. What is it with Detroit and just choking it up, dude? I don't understand. It's crazy stuff, but I'd be more apt to say Stevie Y's got some serious questions to answer. It'll be interesting, but I'm not surprised that Larkin wants out, potentially new scenery. And I wouldn't be surprised if a team like the Rangers or maybe the Sabres, if they let
the no trade, he's going to control where he goes. So for
sure. But maybe he just moves over a little bit and says, I like what's going on over there in Buffalo. You never know. Teams will line up to acquire him. He's a really good player.
No doubt.
You know what I mean? So maybe the Leafs sniff. I don't know. I don't know what they're planning on doing.
They trade?
That's a real good question. They got picks. They got some picks to play with now. Not first.
Well, I don't mean overall.
I don't mean
we're not
that
trading
one.
it. No,
I don't mean that one. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where he lands. Not the Leafs, but I wouldn't be surprised if he ended up somewhere like Buffalo. Or Utah. I don't know. Cap's going up. People forget. I was having a conversation about this with some friends, and they're like, "Oh, Vegas. They need to
Where does everyone go?"
He probably might. You know what came to me too. Because I was going back and forth with friends in my hockey pool about this, and they were like, "No, that team can't acquire." I'm like, guys, the salary cap is going up. Remember?
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, that's right. Wow, Florida. What about those dastardly Panthers? God, they could do it. How about that? Barkov Larkin? Wow. I'm just saying. I'm not telling anybody how to do their job or anything, but it'll be interesting to see where he lands. That's a big fish.
It is interesting. Yeah.
Big fish. Okay. Speaking of fishing and just not coming up with anything, you ready to transition here? Can we transition? Because
let's do it.
You brought up the Blue Jays, and let's talk about some baseball here. It's been a little while. Okay.
It has.
And
we got to get Mike DeMurgis back on soon.
We got to get the merge back.
There he is.
Absolutely. And there he is. There's your buddy Jeff Hoffman. And man, it really came to a head with that Baltimore game recently where he had a 4-run cushion. Man, did he ever implode. I just think that this guy's confidence is shaken beyond belief. He's in, I believe, the last year of his deal.
He's the right-handed Brandon Little right now.
I'm should the Jays DFA this guy?
Can't they just send him to Buffalo and see if he can regain his form?
Maybe, because I don't know that anybody would pick him up at the $15.8 million that he makes. I don't know that somebody would pick him up. So they might be able to just send him right through. Whether he would accept the demotion or not would determine whether they have to DFA him, but man, I don't know how much longer they can roll this guy out there. And Ross needs to get him. Like, the Blue Jays have been cooking lately.
Well, here's the thing, man.
Really baseball.
Thursday night they win. Friday night they win.
Yep.
And Saturday we're up 5-1. 5-1, bottom of the ninth.
Last weekend,
And then what's his name? Varland, it comes in the 8th, and then they bring this guy in the 9th. And it was like lighting it on fire. And there they go. So they lose Saturday. That carries on to Sunday. That carries on to Tuesday. That carries on to Wednesday. They were on a nice roll, a great roll until
won 11
Saturday,
of 13
until Saturday when he blew the game, and they've been in a spiral ever since. And I feel for Schneider, but you got to stop giving him the ball.
He's on the roster, right? It's like, what do you need me to do? And Schneider would be sitting there talking to Pete Walker going, Jesus, guys, like we put you in like a pretty comfy situation.
Like
guys, the walking is
man,
it's
awful. Anyway,
you need this guy to find the strike zone.
You know what? If Varland was the stopper in the World Series, the Jays win the World Series. That's all there is to it. I'm convinced.
In hindsight, in the way that he has pitched in that role primarily over the last month and a half, you'd be kind of inclined to not think that that's probably true, dude. Yeah. Like, you never know, but geez, like, I just can't see Varland the way that he's throwing, giving up that tater to Miguel Rojas. Like, I don't know. And there's no point in revising it. No, but I understand where you're coming from. Like, and I don't know. Like, he's a likable guy. I love the whole Thanos thing and his intro. Like, you want him to do well, and you're just like, oh God, Jeffrey. Like, where is this going, brother?
On either DFA or Buffalo or somewhere. It's time. It's time.
Speaking of Buffalo,
we don't have time.
Yes, exactly. Like, we're in June. It's June, bro.
Yeah, let's go. I mean,
and this was the time of year
and everything, but they got.
This was the time of year last year where the Jays really lit the match and got cooking here,
and it looked like they were doing it.
This guy, and they were.
I know. 11 to 13. But then that game that set them off on a 4-game losing streak.
So they got some serious decisions to make, and hey, they're going to have to make some roster decisions too, because it looks like Alejandro Kirk's ready to go. Nice long homer the other day, and Jimmy Garcia looking like he's ready to come through. I watched him pitch the highlights.
Who sticks around, Heineman or Venezuela?
Oh, I think Heineman is. I think his DFA? Days are numbered. Yeah,
I would think so.
Valenzuela's been
great.
Good.
Yeah.
I mean, more so defensively, like his bat leaves a little to be desired, but you don't mind that. Like, defensively, he's been really good. Whereas Heineman, I don't know that you can say many redeeming things about the way he's played. Specifically his arm this year. His arm has directly cost them at least 2 wins.
Yeah. No doubt.
Early in the season. So, no, I think it's Valenzuela, and they're going to have to find room for Garcia, too. Maybe
show up, don't we?
Well, we're getting close. I want to talk about one more thing.
Okay.
I just have to do this. And listen, I know that this isn't your favorite sport in the world, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But I was just out west, and people out in Vancouver are pissed at FIFA. Just the inflated ticket prices. It's a joke what they're gouging people for out there. But then this comes down.
I can't believe there's a joke with FIFA. I mean, they just gave Trump a peace award.
Oh, yeah. I'm just sick of this stuff, dude. FIFA has made a late change to its stadium code of conduct, banning World Cup ticket holders from bringing reusable water bottles into matches. The change comes just over a week before the tournament begins on June 11th, with Vancouver's first match scheduled for June 13th between Australia and Turkey at BC Place. FIFA notified ticket holders of the change by email yesterday, that being June 3rd.
Safety concerns.
Citing safety concerns, specifically that the bottles could be used as projectiles. Great. Let's have everybody pay $2,000 to sit nowhere and die of thirst.
This has nothing to do with player safety.
It doesn't. And what? The $15 bottles of Dasani aren't going to be projectiles?
Right. Exactly.
These people are pegs. People are snake pukes. Totally and agree. I hate them. Yep. I hate the World Cup.
Dan, don't watch it then.
I'm not going to watch it. What attachment do I have to the World Cup? Let me give you a quick hot take before we wrap the show
talk about Canada. All that. No, we're not talking about it. We're going to ban it from the show.
We're banning it. We're absolutely banning it. The World Cup is tangibly one of the worst quality soccer competitions going. It just is. You're a soccer fan and you're going to tell me that it's better than the Champions League or the English Premier League. I'm sorry. It isn't. Generally, the games are very boring until you get to like the final 8, the last 16. Even then, it's like, okay, 1-0 here. A lot of penalty shootouts. No. And they're criminals. They are criminals, and how they run their tournament's a joke. That's it.
That's it. We're not talking about that anymore.
We're done. You know what? I'm on board. I love soccer. I'm on board.
Banned.
No World Cup.
No World Cup.
They're banned.
They're banned.
Red card for FIFA. They're banned from instigating. I love dude. Yeah. Unless I have to quick caveat.
No.
If Canada gets like far, we got to touch on it just for a sec. If Canada does,
how many rounds are there?
Too many, dude. There's 48 teams now. It's a joke.
How many rounds?
Well, you get through the group stage, and then you'll get. It's a whole thing.
They got to get to the final 8 for us to talk about
it. If Canada gets to the final 8, we'll talk about it.
Okay, deal.
All right. We appreciate our buddy Sean Furfaro for coming on and chatting about the Rangers Memorial Cup win. Absolutely. The Kitchener Rangers. And we really appreciate everybody listening and watching all your favorite podcast apps, watching on YouTube and Rogers TV, following us on social media at Instigating Pod. We'll be back next week with more Instigating.